So Jesus sent them out and told them, you're not going to take anything. And most of us, if we go out and say, well, we're not going to give you anything, well, how are we going to minister? How are we going to do that? Well, Jesus already showed that it can be done. Because he told them, look, if you do what God tells you to do, a workman is worthy of his hire, and God will bless your work if you just do this. So as they went out with nothing. But as they went out with nothing, God showed up, and they were able to bless everybody that they were touching. They were able to heal. They were able to bless. They were able to leave their calling card on towns, and they were able to bring them to the Lord. All because they went out the way Jesus told them to go out with nothing. Jesus did not give them anything new. He didn't say, I'm going to give you some new shoes. I'm going to give you some more money. I'm going to give you some. No, he told them, go out and take nothing. And God will bless. Now, we're going to learn about the 21st century Christian in all of this. Because I use David as a backdrop. Because David is a perfect backdrop for the 21st century Christian. And why is he such a perfect backdrop? Because David, who was a shepherd boy, who was in the sheep, feeding his flock, feeding his father's flock, and all of that, he was in the field. And when he was in the field, one day when his brothers were in battle, his father called him and said, look, come in from the field, I want you to take lunch to your brothers. Who were battling, they were more running than battling, but anyway, they were on the battlefield with the Philistines and Goliath. So as David went out to take them lunch, he saw this massive man named Goliath. Big dude. I mean, bigger than anything. Over 10 feet. Big, probably about 8 feet wide, had on armor. Just looked like a monster. Come up, calling God names, calling his brother's names, calling his mother's names, calling everybody's names. And his brothers must have been chunks, because if you talk about your mama, you should be fighting. So they were talking about everybody in their family. They were still running. Look, anybody know if somebody talk about the mother, that's a fight? Anybody know that? Okay. But his brothers were running. So David saw all of this and he said, what is going on? He said, why is this uncircumcised Philistine talking about God and everybody else? Why is nobody doing anything? And his brothers told him to shut up. Like any big brother would tell a little brother that he got embarrassed. Because the big brothers were embarrassed, and they told their little brother, why don't you just shut up? Go feed those little few sheep that you got out there. Belittle what he was doing. So David said, well, look, if I had the chance, Adam, I'd kill him. I'd kill him. Let me have him, I'd kill him. And they looked at it, oh, your mouth all big. Well, why don't you go tell the king what you said? I'll tell the king, so somebody kill him. So his brothers, they ran because they, thought it was funny, and David had an audience with King Saul, and he told King Saul what he told his brother. Say, look, if I had a chance at him, I'd kill him. King Saul said, what are your credentials? Well, when I was out with the sheep, I killed a lion, and I killed a bear who tried to take the sheep. And the God that saved me with the lion and the bear and allowed me to kill them, he's going to be with me when I go out here and get the lion. I kill him. I kill him. And Saul said, okay, I understand what you're saying. I'm going to take you up. Now, when Saul was king, Saul fought battles. And when Saul fought battles against armies, the Amalekites and everybody that he fought battles with, Saul had armor. And he had heavy armor. He had sword, he had shields, he had this big iron coat that he put on to protect him from any blows. He had a big brass, heavy helmet. He had all of this stuff. And it worked for Saul in Saul's day. But now Goliath's coming, and Saul's not using that same equipment for his day, from his day. You notice that Saul wasn't out on the battlefield. He was in the palace. But yet Saul had all the equipment to fight, but Saul was in another generation time, and Saul didn't use that equipment to fight Goliath. But what Saul did was take that equipment that he had after he found out what David could do and said, look, okay, you can fight Goliath, and here, you wear my stuff. So Saul put his helmet on David. He put that heavy coat of iron on David. He gave David his shield. He gave David his sword. And David had that stuff on. And it said that David had stayed, meaning that he couldn't move. Now, how you going to minister if you can't move? How you going to fight if you can't move? David had all the stuff on, but he said, I can't use this. stuff that's all used. And a 21st century Christian, you can't use what your grandmama used. You can't use what your granddaddy used. You in another state of time. Your grandmama and granddaddy didn't have internet. They didn't have cell phones. If they wanted to call somebody, they had to play like Superman and find a phone booth. So see, we're in another place in time, and David was saying that I can't use this stuff. So David had to take all that junk off. And besides, in this day and time, it wasn't working for Saul, so why should David use it wasn't working for him? See, David has stepped into another era in time, into another century. The giants get bigger as you grow. Your giants don't get smaller. They get larger and they get more cunning as you grow up in the Lord. So, as David said, look, I can't use this stuff. Saul looked back and said, well, what you going to use, David? He stopped picking up his stuff he was going to use. Said David picked up his bag, he went to the brook, the little river, the baby river. He got 5 smooth stones, he stuck them in his bag. You know, he got his sling, his little slingshot. He got all the stuff that he needed to use. And he said he even had some script, meaning he had some word with him in his bag. Amen. David, when he went to fight Goliath, he didn't fight him unprepared. He had the word with him. See, sometimes we want to go fight, but we don't have the word. You already lost if you don't have the word. Amen. So David had the word in his bag, and he said, well, look, this is all I need. And if you read verse 40, like I read verse 40, you found when David had the stuff that he could use. It said when he got on the battlefield, he could approach Goliath. But with the Saul stuff, he couldn't move. See, David was in his century now. He had the stuff that he needed to defeat that giant. And 21st century Christians know you can't do what grandmama did. You know, just because it worked in 1960, don't mean it's going to work now. Meaning that you need to do other things now. You need to do different things now. That's why when I get at home and play my old westerns, my black and white westerns, my kids will come in my room and say, what is that? It's TV. That's TV. They don't remember black and white. They don't remember when you had to get up and change the channel. They don't remember when your TV antenna was out and you had to get a wire coat hanger to stick in that thing to make it work. They don't remember that. That is foreign to them. They don't remember that we had to play records on these little wax discs and put them on wax on that. You play the record. Yeah, they don't remember that. And you know what? They shouldn't, because they are in my time. They're in their time. I shouldn't try to hold them down and say, well, look, you got to play your records on my wax disc. I would put them out of balance with life if I keep trying to force what I used to do on them. Because they're in this century, my century was last century. But what I try to do as an adult is grow up and adapt and learn from them. That's why Jesus said, let a child lead you. They can teach us what we need to know right now. Sometimes we don't always need to be teaching children. Sometimes we need to step back and learn what they know. Because some of this music coming through, you don't have the patience all the time to understand what those people are saying. All that rap, all that spitting and all that stuff they're doing, you don't understand, but your kids understand it. Sit down and ask them, and you don't get them and ask them, what are they saying? You know, if you act like you're interested, they're going to tell you. And what they tell you will surprise you. And as they surprise you, don't listen to it right away. You go and pray. God will give you the answer, but the answer is going to be eventually, you need to do something about what they're listening to. But we can't do that if we keep dragging the past in their era. Because the truth of the matter is the music we listened to wasn't any better than what they're listening to. It's just that that's what we were listening to. I mean, I listen to music. Oh, I love my music. She's a brick house. She's mighty. Just let it all hang out. She's a brick house. Stand it back. Can't hold nothing back. See, that ain't no better than what they hear today. Oh, I remember the first time I heard something from Ohio Bears saying skin tight. Skin tight. Boom, 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 boom. Skin tight. Look, I guess we all cut the class because I was hanging out the window at Bannister Junior High School listening to the radio. But what I was